Hi and welcome, Martina here. Today I'd like to share a card making technique using a background panel die, which is absolutely beginner friendly. In my case, I've been using the Spring Showers background die by A Pocketful of Happiness, but you could use any other die, or you could even cut stripes if you're not a die cutter. I have prepared some pieces of cardstock which are slightly bigger than my background die. This makes it easier to cut it later. And now I'm making my color choices. To make the color choices, I always use my little swatches. It makes that process so much easier. When I have decided which colors I'd like to use for today's card, I can start the heat embossing process. Since I knew that I would be covering 4 of these cardstock panels with the WOW embossing pad, I used the Freestyle and conditioner tool just to refill my embossing pad before using it so much on so many big surfaces. You see me doing that in real time. It's a really quick and easy process. You just roll that tool over the pad, let it sink in for a short time, and you're good to go. Because this will be 4 times the same process, I will show you 1 time the whole process in real time, and after that I'll just speed the whole process up. I am covering my pre-cut piece of cardstock with the WOW embossing pad, and I'm making sure that I have a really good coverage of the ink on my cardstock, and then put my paper on a coffee filter. You could also use a piece of scrap paper, that works perfectly fine. And after that, I'm covering my whole cardstock in embossing powder. In this case, I'm using the color Pinkish, which is a part of the new release, and I couldn't love a pink more than this one. So I'm really thankful that Marion came up with this beautiful pink. When the whole cardstock was covered with embossing powder, I just tilted the paper, tapped all the excess embossing powder off, and now I'm cleaning my workspace and just funneling back all of the excess powder into the jar, closing the lid, which really helps to prevent any accidents on my crafting table. And I can tell you, I had a lot of them. And now I'm already prepared to start the heat embossing process. I'm using my WOW dual speed heat embossing gun on the setting 2, which is the hotter and I think more intense setting on the heat embossing gun. And I'm just slowly making my way over the whole paper panel. And as always, it's just pure magic to watch this embossing powder melt. And it's also a good help to see the powder melt, because then you know you're done on that spot. I think it's really helpful to see that, so you can prevent any accidents when you think you have heat set the whole powder and go over the surface with your fingers and you just wipe the powder off, which is, to me, annoying if that happens. Now you see all the 4 panels I have heat embossed. It's a panel with Lime Ricky, one with Pinkish, one with Raspberry, and one with Punch. And now I'll be die cutting all of these panels with the background die. And now I'm already starting to create my cards. I have cut some basic cards and I'm just gluing the cards to my frames that the background die created. And now I'm really just filling the gaps of the background with the embossed pieces. This is how the cards look when I just filled in all of the leaves. And now I'm starting to arrange the flowers. I have 3 colors of flowers and I don't want to have same colors sitting next to each other. That's why I just start to lay them out on my card before I start gluing them really down. Because it usually happens to me that I stick the same flowers next to each other and I don't want to redo it. I just want to enjoy the process, and that's why I take the time to prepare everything well. And that's the finished card. I have folded the flowers a little bit. This adds some more dimension to the card, and everyone who knows my process knows that I love a little bit of dimension on my cards. And the fun thing about this card making process is you have 5 panels, you have 5 different colors of flowers and leaves if you also cut white as I did. And this leaves you with a ton of opportunities for other cards. To show this idea, I decided to create a second card with a pink background, and I'm filling all the flowers with white cardstock flowers, which is, even if it's the same powders and the same dye, I think the result is something completely different. And I really, really love the versatility of possibilities you get when doing a card like this. To make sure that the second card still has something individual and makes it stand out for itself, I decided to add a word die, and I decided to go with the Hey There die, which is also by A Pocketful of Happiness. And what I love about this die is that they have a outline and an inlay. I don't know how to say that in English, but I think you can see it properly when you're watching the video. I just love the fact that I can have a white outline and then a bold black inlay, which makes the die cut and the script, the font, even more stand out on a soft and filigrane background, as I have created with this card. I have die cut everything 3 times, especially the base, because this helps me to have a really thick and sturdy die cut, which can be pieced over a dimensional background as my flowers are, because I have also folded these flowers somehow from the center to the leaves. That makes them stand out from the background. I think you'll see that properly when I'm tilting the card when I have finished it. I can't believe it. That's it for today. I totally love how these cards look. I love the dimension of the flowers. I love the colors of the embossing powders. And I love the fact that this card is so easy to make. And it leaves you with so many opportunities. Just take one die, some powders, repeat the process, and you end up with so many opportunities to get creative and create your own cards. And as I mentioned in the beginning, you even don't need dies. You could cut it with the scissors. Just try it, get creative, and have fun. Have a wonderful day. Bye.